you're a home buyer, somebody or a young person looking to buy a home, you need a bit of a reset.
There is a possibility on the other side of this that inflation could actually be quite low.
Welcome back to Real Estate Mindset. Today's video is going to be absolutely bonkers, and I have a good friend and intelligent investor extraordinaire, YouTube superstar, Orlando Minor, here to talk to us today about what the warning to America is, how the housing market is basically toast, and what we're going to do, guys, is we're going to try to understand the bullish perspective, why the bulls are so, excited about, we're going to head to the soft landing, GDP's excellent, right? I mean, there's so much narrative out there, Orlando, that is just continuing to blind people, continuing to tell society that everything's okay. Well, the fact is that maybe everything's okay for the 1%. Maybe they're doing okay. But for the rest of us, the whole 90% of us, we're suffering, we're struggling, we're drowning in debt. So, Orlando, thank you for being here, brother. How are you?
Man, I'm doing great. I appreciate you for bringing me on your platform. As always, man, it's going to be a good time. And yeah, let's jump into it.
Oh, be real, Orlando. You're helping me, man. I reached out to Orlando, guys. I reached out to Orlando. I was like, Orlando, can you please help me? I was like, please help me, Orlando. I'm drowning in editing. I'm on the road right now. Tomorrow I'm going to be going to Reno. And I've been struggling keeping up with my content. And Orlando, I don't want to edit the content that I'm doing in the hotel room. I want to wait back to get to my studio because what I'm finding out on the road, man, is it's just, I don't want to rush this. I want to make a good video. I really want to educate the viewers on the reality of what's going on with new construction and how that crisis with new construction, or the overbuilding, if you will, of new construction, how that's spreading on over to existing homes, that with the unaffordability chiseling away. But let's start here, Orlando, and I would like, if I may, get your perspective. So, 10 years been dropping, okay? Inflation report came out today, a little bit lower. Mainstream media is pushing the narrative again, soft landing. Economy is doing great. Can you tell the viewers, Orlando, why do you think they're saying that? Why do you think that they're celebrating? There's a lot of investors. You're an investor,
right?
But you're a normal person as well. That's why I love you. You're so humble. Why are investors so excited right now? Why are people saying the economy is great, the job market's great?
Well, I think a lot of it has to do with perception, right? If you, especially in this particular scenario right here, right, at this time, right, this season, we're going into a holiday season. We're going into an area where a lot of people spending. Do you really want to have the perception that the economy is not really doing good, and right around the corner is unemployment, higher cost goods, everything's just going to skyrocket, and you could possibly not get money lent to you to get that dream home? Do you want to really push that narrative? And a lot of mainstream media do not. They want to just continue on and push a narrative that everything is good, because that makes people spend more. That makes a lot of people continue to go ahead and continue spending and spending and spending and spending. And if you've seen the reports from what people were spending on Black Friday, it's mind-boggling that people are continuing to spend, not using cash, because that's all gone. The savings is gone. People are using credit cards to spend and spend and spend. So, a lot of these companies, hedge funds, a lot of these media companies are in financing also, and they make their money when consumers spend.
Yeah, I mean, and this is, what I watched last night with my son? I watched Napoleon. Okay. And when I was watching this movie, and I know it was made in this era, but when I was watching it, man, it hit me when there were scenes in there where the politicians talking about manipulating public perception to calm them down. And I believe that's exactly what we're seeing that here. And not only are we seeing that, it seems like there's just money being kicked around here and there to keep things propped up just long enough to get through the presidential election. And I don't want to get into politics, but I will say this. I'm in Boise right now. Okay. I'm in Boise right now. First of all, holy smokes, it's freezing cold here. I was walking some neighborhoods, okay?
Yeah.
I was talking to Johnny on the phone. He's like, Travis, a foreclosure just came on the market. He's like, Travis, a short sale just came on the market, right? Like, I'm in the field, and he's freaking out. I'm getting excited. I'm like, oh my gosh. The problem with Boise is the lack of jobs for the normal person. So what I noticed is about Boise specifically, Orlando, and we're talking about perception now, because Boise is not San Antonio, and San Antonio is not San Diego. San Diego is not Anaheim. So the perspective is so important. You have to understand why people are saying what they're saying. You can't go to San Diego expecting to get an Austin deal. And you can't go to Austin assuming every house is a great deal. You have to find it. So anyways, I'm traveling through Boise. The PE ratio, when we look at average median or average household income, and we look at median sales price for homes, the PE ratio is near 9. But the thing is, and here's the perspective I want people to understand. When someone comes from, say, for example, California to Boise, and they have a salary that's 4 times the average household salary, their PE ratio may be 1. Their payment to income ratio may be 10%. And what that's doing is absolutely wrecking the housing market, so much so that now that people are starting to leave Boise, they're selling these houses, man, and Johnny sent me some stuff, $40,000, $50,000 under market. So what, when we hear, and I listened to a podcast today, it was full of some realtors, so I like to stay sharp. They were just celebrating, like, yeah, the economy, the consumer is resilient. What should consumers right now, Orlando, because we want all perspectives, but we also want to filter. We want to filter from the people that are only pushing an agenda because they're being paid to, they're pushing an agenda because they're generating leads. What should consumers that are confused and are lost, where should they be looking right now?
Well, it's real life.
Right.
That's where you should be looking. When all you have to do is go to the grocery store, all you have to do is try to go buy a new car, try to see how much services are, look at your at-home insurance, and look at property taxes going up. Real life will show you that things aren't going well, right? It's just that simple. All you have to do is look what's right in front of your face. It would be different if I was telling you, oh, wow, everything's so horrible, but everything is just going great for everybody. And we know that's not the case. All you have to do is look at your comment section on our videos. That's all you have to do. All you have to do is go to other guys, other YouTubers, or other people on social media that have the opposite view that we do. Go to their comment section and you'll see their own subscribers telling them, well, that's not how it is over here. I mean, real life will show you exactly. The math isn't making sense, right? I go to the grocery store and an item that cost $2 is $4 now. An item I got a bigger amount, it's shrunk. Right? It's shrinkflation, right? We see all this happening all the time. So I tell consumers, hey, look, I shouldn't have to sell you on the fact that things are more expensive. Just go into your pocketbooks, go into your bank accounts. You'll see that things are more expensive.
And another thing that, kind of flip side of the coin, same podcast I listened to this morning, and I made a comment, I'm like, put me in, coach. Like, they're surrounded by 4 bulls, and I'm like, let me get in there, man. Like, I'll be the black sheep. Let me give my perspective, because they're just like patting each other on the back. And one of the comments that they made was like, hey, when I go to the airport, there's a whole bunch of people. When I go on a cruise, there's a whole bunch of people spending money. Taylor Swift concerts, blah, 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 blah.
Yep.
And then they're talking about people just feel like the economy is bad. It's just a feeling. What do you have to say for the comments that we get with the perspective that because someone goes to the movie theater, someone goes to a cruise, they see a whole bunch of people there. What perspective can we get from that? Because there's people spending money, but what should we be really looking at?
Well, the question is are they spending their money? Is it actual money in their account, or are they borrowing it? And we all know, I mean, I would hope the realtors or anyone else could actually see that individuals are using credit. They're doing things like using programs like buy now, pay later, right? That is all being spent up and used. Just Black Friday was $9.5 billion in credit card debt used. In credit card debt. So you're telling me that all of that stuff happening when it comes to credit card debt, people not using their own money, people's savings depleted. It's not a scenario where people have a bunch of money in their accounts and they're just not spending it. They're saving it. It's not that. It's that no money in savings, it's all been depleted. And now to do those things that to keep up with their lifestyle that they currently have, which is going to see Taylor Swift, Beyonce, movies, taking trips. What are they using? They're using money that they don't have. That's what I would say to that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, they didn't, and I was hoping that they would when they were talking. I'm like, all right, who's going to bring up the credit card debt? Right. Because they're just like, no, people are spending. Black Friday was great, but they're not digging deeper into the numbers. People should have credit right now because they just spent all their excess savings from COVID and they paid off. A lot of people paid off their bills through COVID. So I'm seeing things start to catch up per se. So Orlando.
And I want to add one more thing too. The last thing I want to add onto that is that what about all of the companies that have loosened restrictions on credit cards where you can go to a Citi or American Express? If you look at all of the juicy add-ons that you can get with now signing up for credit card, all the welcome bonuses, you don't think that's just we're just doing this, we're just doing this, and it has no design to it. It has a design to it. They understand that they're making more money than they've ever made in the last 2 years as interest rates have went up. They're making credit easier to obtain, right? And it's just going to catch up. I mean, we didn't get up to $1 trillion in debt, right? And $1 trillion in debt just so happened just falling into it. It's all by design. And individuals, I'm telling people right now, it's so important for people to stay on top of their finances because at the end of the day, when things are starting to come down, we're seeing things. We're starting to see lenders decide, you know what, we're going to tighten up. We're not going to lend. Your debt to income ratio needs to be X, Y, Z. And then when you come in and you say you want to buy that house that came down on price that you've been looking at for a long period of time, but now you have $50,000 worth of credit card debt difference from the year before or 2 years ago, what are you going to do then? So that's the reason why it's so important to stay on top of this stuff.
Yeah, and talking about income, because the income is a big thing, right? If we take a look at how unaffordable things really are, in order to be balanced, historical kind of balance, we would need to be making 63% more income. But when we look at real income, Orlando, we see over the past couple of reports that it actually has gone down. Now, when I was listening to this podcast, and again, even though I don't agree with what they're saying, I appreciated the perspective. So I'm not talking smack.
Right.
It's interesting how their narrative, they're just staying to the confines of anything that's supporting it. So I went and looked at income when they were talking about, okay, maybe they have a point here. Maybe the income's going up because their comment was this, Orlando. They're like, they didn't give the dollar amount, keep in mind, but they're like, income is more now than pre-COVID. And the first thing I'm thinking about, it's a little bit more than pre-COVID, but you want to know what else they didn't mention? How much more unaffordable it is just to live your life. They left that whole big, massive thing. So we're in a situation now where the bulls think that prices will sustain. And I'm just sitting back here, Orlando, thinking like, how are you going to sustain when the prices of houses, even if rates were to go down, say to 4 or 5%, the prices of houses are still so overvalued. I don't see another way without a combination of price cut and interest rate decreases. You got to get that average person closer to home ownership, but not through loosening guidelines, through affordability so that they can manage, right? Go ahead.
No, I was going to say that, it's so funny that you say that because before, it wasn't, though the realtors and the real estate agents weren't coming out saying, oh, we're going to stay the same or we're going to stay even. Before they were saying that it was going to go up and it's going to continue to go up. But now they're saying now we're going to just stay even. So it seems that they're dropping down exactly what they're saying and what they're pushing and which is cool, right? Everybody has a right to change their mind. But it's funny how they went from, I was getting emails of 10%, 5%, continuing going up and up and up. But now it's, now we're just going to stay even. I just want to knock that home. And then on top of that too, of course, income has went up. But I just did a video where I was talking about how individuals with all the layoffs that were happening previously is now jobs are saying, yeah, look, hey, we're going to give you a promotion. We're going to knock you up from 50 to 60 or 70,000, right? We're going to do that. But guess what? That 40 hours that you were working before, we're going to need you to do 55 because we let go of a lot of people and we need to make up all that work and you're going to have to make that up. So do you want the $70,000 raise to work 55, 60 hours a week?
Yeah.
That's what's happening.
And let's segue, Orlando, to something very important that it seems to be a pretty big, and it is an important thing to consider, but it's a really huge bull argument. Let's talk about supply and demand. And first of all, when it comes to, first of all, with active units existing, we're not talking about new construction,
Right.
Existing active units are going up in winter months, which never ever happens, which tells us this: buying power and purchasing power for consumers is wrecked. It is wrecked. And when I come to Boise and Salt Lake and Denver and I see all this building of $600,000 houses with hundreds of spec homes, I'm like, what? Who the heck is going to buy this? And who can afford to stay here when we enter the recession? There's no meat on the bone. People are overextended. Still, they're on TikTok, Netflix. I'm out here driving, getting 1,900 miles, getting B-roll for my viewers. I'm busy making free home buyers courses so I could remind people that there are professionals in this industry that will hold themselves accountable. So the thing is, supply, demand. Demand's crushed. Supply, inventory is going up existing in the winter months. That should tell these bulls something's wrong with demand. Demand has always been the issue. Too much demand, it's an issue. Not enough demand, it's an issue. It's out of whack. But the thing is, new construction, the amount of inventory, and again, not all of it's being reported. If you go to the census data and you look at inventory numbers for new construction, it will say that roughly only 76% is being reported, and they may lie and they may be financially biased. So that's what they're saying on the census data if you were looking at it. But the inventory for new homes, it is exploding. They're just sitting there. Again, in some of these subdivisions now, people that bought 2 years ago in Boise 2 years ago now are competing with the new home builders because they have a short sale now. They have a foreclosure now. So Orlando, will you tell the viewers what happens in these developments when the builders still have spec homes, they're still trying to build out, and then there's a wave of short sales, say the migration leaves Boise, say jobs are gone. What happens to the subdivision when now you have a whole bunch of short sales selling for under what the builders are trying to sell their properties for?
I mean, it drops the prices of homes. I mean, in that area, I mean, the comps that are going to be used are the comps are the comps, right? So if an appraiser comes into that area and does, an appraisal on a house that's in that subdivision, I mean, if it's sold for less, that's what the house is worth. So you're going to see prices drop down in those areas because of that. So yeah, I mean, that's only natural to happen with individuals not being able to, a lot of the sellers in general. And now when I say sellers, I don't mean just regular individual. I also mean builders too. When the demand isn't there, they're dropping their prices. And, I was just have a friend who is doing, he's a UPS driver, and he was telling me that a lot of the owners' houses that he delivers the packages to are asking him, like, hey, do you know anybody who wants to purchase my home? I've been trying to sell my home for the last 70, 80 days, and no one was buying it. So if you know anybody who wants to buy this home, let me know. Now, if I hear a story like that where I hear sellers are asking people who deliver packages to their houses, do you know anyone who will buy my home? What does that say about demand?
To me, it says there's no demand and people are in this. Sellers are desperate. But the thing is, Orlando, it's like it's all, and this is what I'm really trying to explain to our viewers, it's all perspective and probability. So that's why it's so important to not hinge on anyone's narrative, bullish, bearish, because if you do that, you're going to let other people do the thinking for you. And you can't, if there's one thing in life that you don't want to let other people do the thinking for you, it's buying a house, because our industry, and we see this with these lawsuits, I'm a realtor, our industry has absolutely failed consumers. But let me ask you this, Orlando. So a lot of people think we're going to have massive rate cuts in next year, okay?
Right.
What do you see? Okay, so what do you see happening with the federal funds rate? Maybe in going on, what do you see happening with rates? Whether it's the federal funds rate, 10-year Treasury, mortgage rates. What do you think is going to happen in 2024? Do you think we're just going to head into that soft landing? Like, okay, let's lower rates now because there's no inflation. I mean, what do you think is going to happen?
Yeah, I mean, do I think that they're gonna keep pausing rates? Yes, I do. I think they're gonna continue to pause. And it's not by some just mystical thinking here. I mean, all you have to do is just kind of look at what the Fed is doing. Every single time new data comes out, he's using that to judge what he's going to do next. And if he sees nothing wrong currently, this Fed is a Fed that is not going to do something without the data telling him to do it. So he's not going to proactively just go, you know what, I'm going to drop rates, even though I don't see inflation going super high or anything. He's not going to do that. He's just going to look every month and say, oh, nothing's really changed, so I'm going to keep it paused until we get to a month that inflation is going up, and then he's going to start, doing things. So I see a lot of flatness from him until we get to a month where things are continue to go up. But that does not mean that the economy will be doing well. In that entire time, things will still be high. Things will still cost more. And things like places like Florida with property insurance and property taxes all across the country will still go up. So, and with that being said, I think that there's a lot more layoffs coming out because really unemployment is really the last shoe to drop. Once employment falls, then it's pretty much, it is what it is at that point. It's just going to be just watching it, fall apart. So I think that's what's going to happen. I think we're going to stay flat. I don't think that he's going to raise it or anything like that. I don't even think he's going to cut it. It's exactly what he said. Higher for longer or whatever you say, but basically he's going to say he's going to stay the same. He's not going to, I don't think he's going to drop rates. That's my opinion.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's a great perspective. And again, I try to analyze the bullish perspective, and their perspective, Orlando, is they're going to lower rates next year because inflation's coming down. So it's time. So inflation's coming down, guys. Hooray. It's time to lower rates. And I'm just like, guys, they're not gonna, my perspective is listen to them. They're not going to lower rates, and look at the historical precedent as well. They're not going to lower rates unless something really, really bad happens, and just say nothing bad happens the whole year. They will cut rates really insignificantly. And the thing is like, what I think is going to happen, I agree with you that they're going to try to stay elevated where we're at right now. Mm-hmm. I don't think they're going to cut unless, again, something breaks. So I kind of look at it like the longer we stay elevated like this, the better. Now, if something does break next year, then they're going to cut rates. If, and if inflation gets out of control, they're going to raise rates. But I think it's clear right now that it's going to be elevated. So what do you say to the realtors that have the perspective that people should just buy now and just marry their house and date that rate?
I mean, you know how I feel about it. I just feel like that's foolish. I feel like, I do feel, this is what I feel. I feel that everyone's situation is different, right? But if we're talking about majority of people, they should really care about the price of the home. The rate is really whatever, right? The rate, I get it, but you can refinance your house and do all that other stuff later. But the price of the house, what you pay for it is what you pay for it. And if you pay for a house right now, and let's say prices drop, you lose all of that equity. So what does the interest rate do for you anyway? So the point is that if you have to go into the situation looking at houses, this is the reason why research and keeping an eye on your market is so important, so that the house that you've been looking at, where it's been at the top, and how long it's been on the market, how far it's dropping, so that you can get the best deal that you can for you and your family. So I'm just a really big component of researching, keeping an eye on your market, and the whole date the rate, whatever, all that stuff. I just think that the main goal is trying to get the housing price down. You want to buy the house low, right? Low. That's the point. You want to try to get it low. So, and if you can't get that, then, if it was me, I would just set it out and wait until I can get that. No sense of putting yourself in a position where you can't afford the house. Imagine this. And we don't really have to imagine, because this happened years ago and it's still happening right now. Imagine buying a home that you cannot afford right now, that you thought that, hey, I'm super happy with this unaffordable house, but I don't have to worry about it because I'm in a fixed rate. But then you find out the next year that your taxes and insurance double. Now your mortgage is continuing to go up and up and up. And let's say you were at that debt to income ratio. You were at the top, which most people were. Now you can't afford that home as it goes up.
Yeah, I think that's really important for people to understand. And as a loan officer in residential, I know you're you're more than a loan officer, but I was a loan officer in residential. Almost everyone's maxing out their debt to income ratio, which is the affordability calculation. So, when things change, a lot of people can't afford it, especially with what we're seeing in Florida, and especially if people are on a fixed income. I mean, we see things starting to kind of spiral out of control, and then the media shifts, and then people forget about it. This is a situation to where I think what's happening is the perspective, of the bullish perspective, it's being pushed. And the thing is that I want people to understand is it's not necessarily that their perspective is wrong. It's just the difference is they got a lot of money and you got no money, just like me, right? They could buy, maybe they got $50 million in the bank, so they could be like, yeah, who cares about this? Let's just buy a house. We can wait 15 years. But that's not everyday Americans. So that's why I'm saying, understand their perspective. If I'm $50 million, I'd be a different situation. Maybe my perspective would be different, and I understand I'm from Texas. I see new home building. I see price cuts everywhere. I see spec homes everywhere. And I also, I lost everything. So I have more of a cautious approach, and I've helped consumers for 20 years. And the thing is, what drives me crazy, a little bit of the realtor perspectives when they start thinking they're loan officers. A realtor is not a freaking loan officer. They should not be talking about people's finances. A loan officer like me, where we do in-depth financial reviews of people's income, their assets, their credit, that's the experience. These realtors are just cheerleaders. So then I ask, okay, what's their perspective? It's easy. They want you to buy a house, and their premise is this, Orlando, and I understand it, and there's merit to what they're saying. You're only going to lose if you sell. Okay. And I'm just like, okay, that's fine. Okay, I get it.
Sounds like sounds like you're like you're gambling, or like you're playing the stock market or something.
Yeah, but nevertheless, but the premise is, because when I try to see the best part of the message, is that like historically, real estate will go up for every 10 years, let's say. So if we're in a down cycle, it should go up again, which is fair to say. Real estate is traditionally a great investment. And personally, I love real estate. But the thing that I'm trying to caution people about is they're not realtors, they're not investors. Things are getting more expensive. We don't even have unhinged unemployment. We don't even have the recession. It's just we're in a situation to where I think Orlando that I think we just need to change in the industry. I think we need to just really guide consumers to like amortization schedules, data, understanding new construction versus existing, understanding Austin versus San Diego, and not getting so emotional. What I'm hoping that we can do as an objective is to help people get smarter. So what are ways, Orlando, what are ways that you think, again, and you said just wake up, open your eyes, right? But what are ways, and some of the lessons are painful, but what are some of the lessons, some of the ways that consumers can learn how to be smarter in a housing market that is toxic? We're saying the housing market is dust. Then you got all these other people saying, no, those are crash bros. You got to buy now. What do you think about all this?
This is I try to make my message and what I believe is the right thing just really simple. And my simple message to people is you should be cautious on the biggest purchase of your life. It's that simple. You should go in. What baffles me is people will go and buy a car and run it through a 21-point check and take it to this
Yeah.
and take it to there and do research online on that new BMW or Hellcat that they're trying to buy. But on a purchase, on the biggest purchase of your life, when it comes to a property that's going to be $400,000, people are not even going to see what the carpet looks like. Like, does that make sense? So
No.
be cautious. When you're purchasing these properties, you should go in with eyes wide open, ask all the questions that you possibly can. And if anyone, real estate agent, loan officer, anybody is pressuring you to make a decision and just say, you don't need to worry about this, you need to run from that person, right?
Yeah.
So just be extremely cautious and it will benefit you. I promise you it will.
Now, moving on to the cancellation rates, okay? And that's part of the reason why, that's part of the reason why we have more inventory, but also part of the reason why median sales price for new homes dropped $30,000 in 1 month. Orlando, can you tell the viewers why, since the bulls don't know, okay, I don't know, maybe it's just seasonality, right? It's just seasonality. Why do you think there's record high cancellation rates right now?
I think it's high cancellation rates because the homes are unaffordable to begin with.
Yeah, duh, right? Like they woke up. They woke up. They woke up before they closed. Thank God. Thank God they woke up. Dude, their P, I'm telling you, I'm in Boise, the P ratio is like 9. The average person make like $60,000, but the houses are $500,000 and they're spec homes everywhere. And they're stacked on top of each other, Orlando. This is insane.
Imagine this. You're in a contract and you're like, oh, I'm going to buy this home for $500,000.
Yeah.
And then you're on Zillow perusing around and you see the house down the street selling for $400,000. And you're like, what?
Yeah.
I'm buying a house right now for $500,000. The house down the street just sold for $400,000. You're gonna back out. I don't care if that appraisal came back at $500,000. Yeah. That's the stuff that I'm talking about. And that's the reason why you are starting to see people wake up and say, you know what? It becomes, think about this. People love to make the home processing, things, buying a home process simple, right? They want it to be simple. But when you have so many things coming into your head, wow, this house down the street sold for $100,000 less. Oh, there's this wrong with the property. Oh, it's an old roof that I may have to repair. That HVAC is not the best, but they said it'll last another 10 years. When you have all these things coming into your head, oh, prices may drop. Oh, prices may go up. They may stay the same. Oh, guess what? Interest rates may go down. They may go up. Who knows? A lot of people are saying, you know what? It's just better just to kind of sit this one out until I see a clear path. Because right now it's not a clear path.
No, it's not. And people are confused. I think there's a little bit of fear as well, and people trying to figure it out. And I love how you basically what I would say, Orlando, and for the people that are listening to this, do your research. If you go in, if you like a house right now, go onto Zillow. Just please, guys, go onto Zillow. Look at the area surrounding the house. What's going on in the market, right? Because one subdivision may be okay, but the subdivision right across the street may be liquidating prices. So you have to look, and some good sources that are free for the public, like existing, Zillow's pretty decent. For foreclosures, you can also go to Zillow. But for new homes, and I really want people to follow the new home data, you can go to newhomesource.com. They have a map of all of the new construction. And honestly, I would really like to encourage people to go on newhomesource.com to the areas that they want to buy and start walking those areas. When I'm on this trip, I know, and I knew this would happen. But when I go onto this website showing where all the new construction is supposed to be, right? And then I get to the subdivisions, when I'm there, I'm finding 2-3 times more inventory. But not only that, Orlando, I'm finding like new communities that are being built right down the street, with like 15 spec homes that are not even being reported on MLS, New Home Source. And I'm just like, I'm stumbling upon this by chance. So I hope that the people that are listening, hopefully be motivated for me. I drove 2,200 miles. I'm on 44 hours of drive time right now. If I could do it, I really think people need to just shut off the noise, right? Whether it's me, bulls, shut off the noise and go out and see. Go out and see. That's all I'm asking. Go out and see. Get off the media. Get off the TikTok.
Right in front of your face.
It's right in front of your face, guys. And don't listen to someone just because you want to hear it. And that goes with us as well.
Right. I agree.
Figure out, why are we, and I want people to ask them, why are we saying, Orlando and I, why are we saying this? If I said to people to buy right now, my income would probably go up hundreds of thousands of dollars because I'm a realtor and a loan officer, Orlando.
Right.
Why are we're saying this? Because although a lot of it is our opinions and our perceptions, but a lot of that we're basing on historical data, yield curve inversion, cancellation rates, 52% more expensive to own a house. And the fact that I have been cheerleading and coaching realtors myself for a decade. So I know their games. And again, ain't no realtor, no financial advisor. Ain't no realtor, no financial advisor. These people on YouTube, and I'm not going to I won't bring any names up unless they want me to. It's so clear to me, Orlando, that they're just saying that what they're saying, either they're getting paid to by a sponsor, or they're saying what they're saying to generate leads. If there's a bullish realtor on YouTube, go to their description and see and follow their link and see if there's an application for you to buy. Okay. And I'm not saying generally it's fine, right? We want people to grow and be self-employed. I want to eventually get there, but not at the cost of being dishonest to the consumers that are leaning on me. And likewise, Orlando, to the consumers that are leaning on me, I don't want them to be stuck in a crash narrative because we don't know when it's going to bottom. We don't know what Jerome Powell, this one man, is in control of our destiny. No one man should have that power. And if they do have that power, we should know what they're going to do next. And we don't. And that's what's scary. So again, as we go through turbulence, I think people need to research and look and search and use data and providers and understand why people say what they are. Have your guard up. Why do you have to be best friends with your realtor? Don't be best friends with your realtor. Use your realtor. Push them against the wall. Say, you need to work for me or I'm going to use someone else.
Right.
Be mean to them because good realtors can handle it, Orlando. Good realtors are not going to be in my comment section. Blah, 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 blah. Good realtors explain how it works and why they are important. Good realtors don't have emotional breakdowns in the comment section, guys. Those are children, which is all you need to sell real estate, Orlando, is to lie. That's if you can lie to people, you can become a realtor. So it's hard. It's harder. It's harder. It's not even. It's harder to be successful in real estate if you're honest. If you're honest and you have a cautious perspective, right? Like I have a cautious perspective, but instead of me. Anyways, I got out of the business. I plan on getting it. I may jump back in real estate in 2024 because the housing market's falling apart. Prices are going down. New home sales are crashing. People are canceling like crazy. Demand is wrecked. All of those home buyers that were well off on the sideline, a lot of them jump back in 2023. So going into 2024, guess what? It's going to be way easier for me now since they already like, oh, you know what? It's not going to crash. They were wrong. Who cares about the PE ratio, the payment to income ratio, the hyper supply in construction, prices falling with construction, buyers remorse surveys. I understand though why it's so emotional. People just want a house and a roof over their head. They want to raise their children, 100%. Man. So the problem to me is just like it's just the lack of caution, the foolish optimism, and man, and I know you're an investor, but I think that but it's not like I think the issue here is the lack of relatable perspective. Because people listen, on YouTube, they're listening to these very successful bullish people and saying, well, that bull is saying it, I could do the same thing. Not understanding, well, that bull may have a credit line of $20 million. They may have backing from another 100 people. And we don't have those resources. For me, at least, my decision to purchase a house makes just one house makes a drastic impact on my finances and my future. I cannot be making the wrong decision. And even remember, last year, Jerome Powell said, you may want a little bit of a reset. What happened to that? Right? But what are your thoughts? I'm sorry, I'm rambling.
No. I just think that you're right. Everybody should be cautious. Everybody should, it's all about, perspective. Like I said, depending on, my whole thing is understand where you are with your job, understand your finances, and to be ready that when something does happen, let it be. And I'm not just talking about the housing market. I'm talking about if you lose your job, then you have that savings emergency and savings account that I've talked to about. If the housing prices do go down, then you're able to go and get that money that you've been looking for to purchase that home. What I don't want is everyone to be sitting on the sidelines and not pay attention to anything. Racking up debt. Their credit going from stellar to not stellar in 1 year because they've overspent on debt and credit cards. I don't want that. So I'm telling people to continuously keep an eye on their market, continuously do things to better themselves financially so that when the time does come, they can pull the trigger. And so the market itself is gonna, we can read things and we can look at the cycles and we can look at what happened in history. But at the end of the day, a lot of this stuff, is going to be contingent upon the individual being ready for it when it comes.
Yeah, and I would like to add to that very good, we are not financial advisors. To what you said is, understand that also we get paid to wait right now. We can put our down payment into the treasuries. Society wants consumers to give up because when they give up, they start spending, they stop savings, they stop empowering themselves. And I just would really almost beg, I'll beg even people, because I know they just want to know what's going on. They're confused. For the love of God, don't give up on yourself and don't give up on your goals. Don't throw away what you've accomplished. Don't go out and spend. Continue to save. Continue to be hopeful, but not just blindly hopeful. Like you're on the sideline, like, okay, when's the crash? What date? What does it look like? No, you can find okay deals right now, some great deals right now.
Of course.
But you can't do it blindfolded. And my concern, Orlando, is people are blindfolding themselves. And I don't think we can wake up everyone, man. What do you think?
No, that's impossible. That's impossible. You can't wake up everybody. But that's the whole point, is that there will be people who listen to us, and then there were people who won't listen to us, and there's people who will, do the exact opposite, right?
Yeah.
So that's fine. That's totally fine. Because, but the people who do listen, right, and the people who get a great deal out of this, I'm happy for those individuals. All I can do is give you my opinion from being in this industry, right, for 15 plus years, right, and give you my advice, right, on that of what's going on and what I would do in this situation, and you can take it from there. So that's all we can do, man. That's all we can do is put the information out there, put the data out there, put our opinions out there, and however people take that is how they take that. I always say on my channel, look, I'm trying to give you a different way of looking at these things because you got to understand, man, a lot of people looking at this housing stuff, it's still confusing to them. I'm trying to give it to them in a layman's term where they can understand it and make the decision that's best for them and their family.
And you guys, let's take this as a moment to, let me plug your channel. You guys probably already know, but if you don't know, Orlando Minor This is his channel. Very, very amazing stuff. Very good quality, great editing, very entertaining. Really, really good man right here. I consider him a great friend. I consider him a great father, great husband. And those are the important things. Yeah, and then at the very end, genius investor, right? Commercial expert. At the very after those things, after those, let's get our priority. And you got your priorities straight. Our family, loving people, giving back to the community. This is your man right here. Orlando, you have, you have helped me become a better person. You have helped open my eyes to an even more perspective, maybe things that I was, not saying. So I would say one more question for me, and then I want to give you the mic and end this.
Yeah.
Orlando, how can I become as entertaining as you?
I don't know, man. I think that comes naturally. I don't know. I mean, here's the thing, man. I say it all the time. Like, I joke around. All the time. My wife doesn't like it as much as probably my viewers like it. She thinks I'm a big goofball, but I just love, I'm happy. I laugh a lot. I enjoy life. As far as entertaining goes, I just kind of just try to display my personality on my videos and make my jokes and take relatable content. I mean, take content that is like stuffy and make it more relatable. You know what I mean? And so I think that's probably the easiest way. Is just try to, make the content that everybody considers boring. Like, like housing market data. Come on, most people consider that pretty boring. So
it is. I mean, it is boring. Orlando, if you can, I would, go. I would like you to end this, if you can, on hope. If you can give consumers a message of hope, and if we can end there, that would be great.
Yeah, I would just say that when it comes to, the hope part, right? I'm really big on, kind of like creating your own hope. And what do I mean by that? I think that if you go ahead and you, like we talk about, you do the research, you're cautious, you're continually trying to make yourself better, your finances better, your family better, you're doing all of those things, that the thing that's supposed to come to you will come to you, right? It really will. So that home that you really, really, really want, right? If you take care of all the other stuff around it, I can tell you this, it will come to you when it's supposed to come to you. And so, but if you go the opposite way and you want to buy a home super fast and you're not going to do the research, you're going to spend like crazy. You're going to go out here and get an Amex card and run it all the way up. The chances of you getting that home, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen because you're going to ruin yourself and you didn't prepare for it. So, long story short, preparation is that hope that you need. Once again, preparation is the hope that you need.
That is absolutely beautiful, man. We'll end it there, Orlando. Once again, man, thank you for giving me that lifeline. I'm so exhausted. I'm heading to Reno tomorrow. I'm going to see my boy tonight, and it is freezing. I couldn't even feel my hands earlier today. You guys, I'm seeing so much new construction. I can't wait to get these videos out, Orlando. I mean, I have my perspective, man. My perspective now is just like, oh my God, but I'm going to like hot areas where it's exploding. They're just sitting there. There's no buyers coming up. There's no one at the sales offices. The PE ratio is 9. I'm just like, this is wild, man. This is wild, man. And that's why I'm driving everywhere. Just let me try to capture what's going on in new construction, because it starts with new construction. I've been saying that for the last year, and that's exactly what we're saying. But man, again, from the bottom of my heart, I appreciate you. Let your wife know that, hey, the world needs more goofballs. Okay? The world needs more goofballs. All right? Let her know I said that. I got your back, man.
I will.
And
another later, man. I appreciate it.
Of course, man. And other than that, guys, if you're out there investing in real estate, I wish you luck, and we hope you win.